Good morning. I am in beautiful Nicaragua, and I've been traveling for the last 3 years in Central America, and I just discovered something this morning actually, and I was wondering what was the secret of Nicaragua, and I discovered it because what happened was I went to another country and I couldn't get to its national park because I couldn't find a rental car, and I didn't know how to get. It was just hard to get there. Nobody seemed to help me. There was no buses to it, or it was just hard to get to the park. So I actually never went to the national park that I wanted to go to. But I realized that in Nicaragua, the nature is just right around me. It's just, I'm in the nature. I don't have to drive half an hour to get to nature because I'm in it. And that's the one thing that is amazing about Nicaragua, is that you are in the nature. The country is created or is surrounds the nature. It's a very natural system. And so things are naturally layered over each other. The people operate according to natural principles, and there is, I believe, minimal interference from human beings. And that is the secret of Nicaragua, and I could talk about a lot of things that have to deal with this. There are a lot of topics that have to deal with this. And one of the topics I was telling you about was going to a national park. And so, of course, there are advantages and disadvantages of having nature right around you. And even this morning, I was having a hard time sleeping. And even this video, there are probably going to be a lot of topics I'm going to cover, but they're all related, and it has to do with the fact that nature is all around me. And there are accompanying issues with having nature around me. I don't have to go travel. I don't have to drive half an hour or 1 hour to get to a park to see nature. I just go to a hotel, probably nearby in Nicaragua, when I'm in Nicaragua, a hotel. And especially at the edge of if you look at a map and there's a whole bunch of greenery, and you pick a hotel that's either in the middle of the greenery or on the edge, and you'll be able to see a lot of wildlife. There are attendant problems, issues, whatever you want to call them, because I'm not saying this is good or bad, but they come as a result of having nature around. And I'm going to show you the things that I do to make life easier for me, so I'm able to adapt to the surroundings. Because a lot of times, like for example, I understand that many people don't like to go camping, and it's because, or there are a lot of things to prepare in order to go camping. And sometimes when you're out in nature, even when you're in a hotel, sometimes when it's out in nature, or any place that's out in nature, there are things that you can do, even simple things, that can make life easier. And so you're able to kind of go out in nature more, and you're able to enjoy the nature. And these types of things spiral. They spiral. Either it gets worse, you have a worse experience and you don't experience it, or it gets better and you have a better experience and you keep on doing it. So I'm saying in this video that hopefully you're going to have a few tips where it gets easier to engage with nature, and it's not going to be something that is an inconvenience for you doing it. So let me show you some of these very simple things. These are things that I've been doing for the last 2 years, so it's not a theoretical thing. It's not theory. It's something that I do. So these things I talk about, they're solution to problems. And yes, there's going to be a problem. For example, this pillow I found was extremely lumpy, and it was It was very hard. So my neck got numb. I've never had that happen before. The last 3 years or in my life where my neck got numb from sleeping on a pillow. So anyway, I have a camping pillow. And it actually worked because I ended up sleeping. I dreamt and everything. It was pretty good as far as sleeping was concerned. And so what I did was I put this sort of, I put this case and then I put the pillow over it, and then maybe I wrapped something over the pillow so not to keep it clean, and then I slept on this setup. Now this one is I love this piece here. It's one of those compartments where you put clothes in, and it's very convenient. I think they're called travel cubes, and it's very easy to organize, and it compresses. And I also use it as a pillow. It's multifunctional in a lot of different ways. And then, especially in places where there's very little air conditioning, or you don't want to use air conditioning because you want to listen to the birds outside or something, is I have this mosquito repellent. And I found that mosquitoes or bugs keep me awake at night if they kind of go near my face and everything. So this is very important as far as just trying to get a good night's sleep. Another thing with getting a good night's sleep is earplugs. Last night I found out that I'm staying over or next to a dance club or a bar, and so the earplugs are extremely important. A dance club or a bar, and there was noise to the middle of the night, and the earplugs are extremely important. The earplugs, it just lowers the noise level so I'm able to sleep. So any kind of noise in the middle of the night, you can block it out. Another thing is that if there's not enough good window shades, then I have this iPad. And this one the band broke earlier already, and I had it fixed. But an iPad is extremely important if you want to get an extra 1 or 2 hours sleep, and it's still it's already getting bright outside. And that's what exactly happened this morning, and I got enough sleep. One is a tad bit, it looks sort of silly on me, and hats are a strange thing because if it's a fashion garment, sometimes certain things are not in style, so you stick out. But functionally, it blocks out the sun, and you got to think about, does it block out the sun? Do you feel cool in it? I mean, does it do certain things? So sometimes going against fashion currents is something you need to do in order to protect yourself from the sun or other elements. This small rice cooker is a huge lifesaver for me. It saves a lot of money and time for me to go and get water and to get a hot drink. So I just boil the water and I drink it. And I know this sounds weird, but sometimes there's no cup. I just drink directly from here. It's like a large bowl. So I usually make beans and rice from this. I could boil some vermicelli, add some ginger, and it's just for very simple things. Actually, the rice cooker can do a lot of different things. Rice cookers can bake cakes and all that. But for me, when I'm on the road, I use it to boil water, make hot drinks, make beans and rice. Another thing that I do, and this is very important as far as traveling is concerned, is I wash my own clothes. And if you don't wash your own clothes, you enter into certain different things. There's either two consequences if you don't wash your own clothes and you're on the road a long time. Either you eventually have to get to a washing machine, so you're relying on a washing machine, right? And then in relationship to the washing machine, you're either relying on somebody else to do your laundry, or you're relying on some laundry service or a laundromat. So it adds another layer of complexity if you don't wash your own clothes. So therefore, when you do wash your clothes on a daily basis, you become more independent. And I have found that you become, it's also good hand-eye coordination, and you become, your mindset is very different. It's an opinion of mine, but I feel that I could almost separate people in the world, people who hand wash their own underwear and people who don't, especially when there's really no washer dryer around. The other second consequence of not washing your clothes is that you have to pack more, because if you're going on a 2-week trip, you have to pack underwear for 2 weeks, and then you go back home and then you wash your underwear in a washer dryer. But what if you're not in a situation where you don't even have access to a washer dryer, or it's not that easy? So then what do? You don't go traveling, or you don't go to certain places. So in essence, when you have that option of washing your own clothes, you become more independent, and you have more options as far as how you're traveling and you're on the road. As long as you have a sink and you have soap, you can wash your clothes. Now the issue is how to dry the clothes. And this place, I have a restroom. I went into the restroom. I stayed at this other place, and the restroom didn't have a window, so the clothes didn't dry even in 1 or 2 days. So this is actually the same case. I have a restroom that doesn't have a window that opens, so I hung my clothes, and this is a window that opens, and I hung my clothes in the room that's next to the window, so hopefully my clothes will dry. Now, so this is what I do when I hand wash my clothes, and in this scenario, I'm hanging the clothes to dry somewhere else, not in the shower. So I feel like I've perfected this, because I've been doing this for 3 years, is I use soap and I wet the clothes. Let's just say I have a pair of socks. I wet the pair of socks with water, and I put soap on it, and I soak it for at least 20 minutes. I leave it wet, and it's all soaking in the sink for 20 minutes. I would say a minimum of 20 minutes, because I don't think you need it anymore, more than 20 or 30 minutes. Because sometimes, I mean, it's ideal to have a bucket, but if you don't have a bucket, at least it's wet and it's soaking with the soap. And then you wash it, right? You hand wash it. You probably rinse it at least 3 times. You wring it 3 times, because that's just, the first wring is to get most of the soap out, the dirt out. The second wring is to do the same thing, and the third ring is to make sure that the water is running clear. And so after that, I hang the socks up where the shower is. I hang it, and then let the water run to the bottom of the piece of clothing, the bottom of the sock. And then I might hang that for at least half an hour. So all the water's run down to the bottom of the sock, and then I wring it. I wring the wet part, and then I can move those socks to somewhere else, to another place where it can dry, so I don't get the entire floor wet. So I move it from the shower to the floor. And so that's what I did in this scenario. I washed my clothes, and then I moved it into another place that is not the shower for it to dry. So this is not the shower, and I just hung it in the corner, because usually there's at least a few hangers, and then hopefully it'll dry today. Be very helpful is this knapsack, which is on wheels. Anything is made easier when it's on wheels.